Like if that is the egg one, it doesn't seem strikingly different. Oh. No, it's the egg one. The Stella Parks Brave Tart Classic American Yellow Cake, maybe it's just called Yellow Cake. The Yellow Cake has some very specific instructions about potato flour and cake flour. And so I want to know, does it really matter? So I'm going to do a quasi-scientific test of several variables. We're going to see what happens when you replace the cake flour with all-purpose flour. We're going to see what happens when you omit the potato flour and add an extra tablespoon of cake flour to compensate for the missing flour. And what happens if you use whole eggs instead of just egg yolks. Will it make a difference? I don't know. Let's find out. Here's my experimental setup. I've got the stock Stella Parks recipe all the way on the right. On the left column, I've got the same recipe with all-purpose flour instead of cake flour. The next column in from the left is the Stella Parks recipe without any potato flour. You can see there's a small bowl missing there. And finally, the third column in from the left uses whole eggs instead of just egg yolks. Is it going to make a difference? Let's find out. I'm going to mix up 4 batches of cake here and bake it all and test it out. For the sake of simplicity and consistency, I'm going to make them as cupcakes. That way I can bake everything at the same time and see what sort of differences this makes in our final analysis. In order to keep things pseudoscientific, I randomized the location of each batch in the cupcake tin. And then I got really excited to do it all and forgot to take a picture after the third batch, but here's everything ready to go into the oven. As I put it into the oven, it was clear that the batters had different consistency and they were going to bake a little bit differently. And just like I thought, they came out not looking exactly the same, but they all look like yellow cake. No, I was talking to my audience here. Don't be. So to recap, I've got 3 experimental cakes and a control cake. Statistically, the thing to do is called a triangle test. I've had a helpful volunteer take one of the experimental cupcakes and the control cupcake, which is the stock Stella Parks recipe, and give me 3 samples. 2 of these are from one thing and 1 is from the other. I don't know which. And the idea is you perform this triangle test over a huge sample size, and then that gives you statistically valid data once you conduct a chi-square test on it. But I didn't make that many cupcakes, so this is pseudo-scientific. Right off the bat, it just visually, cupcake number 3 is pretty different looking. So it has like a more dense crumb. It's also lighter in color. Okay, so I couldn't really help but notice it though. Maybe I should have tasted it blind. Yeah, next time I'll taste it blind. So 3 is a lot softer. I don't know that I prefer it necessarily, but it would be easy to pick this out. Okay, I'm gonna say that I think 3 was the odd cupcake out. It was. Okay. Was it an E? Okay, what was the letter on the bottom of it?
Should I tell you that now? I thought you were going to go through all
Yes, yeah. No, like now I'm comparing.
It was the C.
Okay. Oh, interesting. Okay, so that was the control cupcake. No, I don't think it matters. No, because I'm trying to see. Nobody cares. There's no we. If it makes a difference. But these are obviously very different. So then, okay. Actually, this was the A cupcake. Okay. All-purpose flour. It does make a difference. Still a good cupcake. Okay, back for the next triangle test.
Do you want a blindfold?
Okay, I'm back for the second. No, I'm blindfold. Let's close my eyes. I'm back for the second one. I know it looks like I'm holding my hand in the wrong spot, but remember I'm on the other side of my hand, so I can't see the cupcakes. Okay, so this is cupcake number one. It feels sweeter, but maybe I had my eyes open last time and that impacted the sweetness. I gotta get a glass of water. I feel like that one was maybe a little firmer. Hard to say though. Oh, oops. Well, that was dumb. If one was the odd one out, I just ate it, so I can't see if there's a visual difference. Was one the odd cupcake out? Okay, so that one tasted a little fluffier than these ones. Was one the control cupcake? It was not. So these are the control cupcake. Was one an E?
No, it was not.
Okay, that was the potato flour one. I might have preferred that one. Note to the viewer, sorry, this is confusing. By potato flour one, I mean the one that didn't have potato flour. That one tasted a little bit sweeter to me. I know it's confusing to call it the potato flour one. Sorry. Maybe it had like a... I mean, the crumb structure is maybe a little denser. Oh, I see. And it wasn't as brown. So maybe that's what I was tasting. When are you going to be A, B, and a cake? They were both good. Okay, back for the last one, which is obviously the egg one. But we'll see. Okay, this is the last test. This must then be the egg thing. I used whole eggs instead of egg yolks. The batter was way different because obviously there's all the liquid of the egg white. I didn't try to reduce the quantity of milk in the recipe to compensate for that in any way because I didn't know how to go about doing that. It's not just water, there's like protein in there, and I don't know, it seemed confusing. Plus, what if you misread the recipe and you just miss the fact that it's only egg yolks? Like, is it gonna be a disaster? So, wanted to find out. Here we go. Okay. Like if that is the egg one, it doesn't seem strikingly different. Oh. No, it's the egg one. Oh. Okay, so one is the control, 2 and 3 are the egg one. I don't even need to eat the third one. Oh, weird.
So it wouldn't even peel off. Like, I even put it into a second one because I was like, oh, maybe it was just this one. No.
Yeah, so look at the crumb structure. Isn't there? It looks and tastes like a kitchen sponge. So definitely read your recipes to make sure they're not calling for only egg yolks instead of entire eggs. And it does make a difference. Don't make the Stella Parks yellow cake with entire eggs and no other alterations because it's gross. Okay, it's 3 days later. I think I might be wearing the same shirt, which is a little embarrassing, but that's cool. And one of the purported benefits of the potato flour is that it improves the shelf life. So let's see if these taste any different. Pretty much the same. Maybe the third one's a little drier. Okay, I feel like 1 and 3 are definitely different. I don't know about 1 and 2 though. This is hard. Okay. I feel reasonably confident that 1 and 3 are different than each other, but I'm not sure where 2 factors in the mix. Are 2 and 3 the same, and then 1 is? No. Are 1 and 2 the same? What? 1 and 3 are the same? No.
I mean,
I that was like a rhetorical no, not a I reject the result. Okay. Man, I really thought they were different.
yeah. Did you want to taste it? Well, you don't know. I mean, like I was gonna say, you want.
No. Okay, so 1 and 3 were the same.
Yeah.
Was that the P or the?
Pig, I did.
That means the middle one was the one that was supposed to be the greater shelf life one.
I thought this no. I thought this C was the.
C is control. That has a potato flour. P means I made it without the potato flour.
It was potato.
Yeah, I realized that was confusing. I actually had to do a voiceover in the video where I was like, by the way, I don't know. I mean, Stella Parks says it improves the rise, and
You wanna try it again, and maybe-
that might be true.
I don't think I messed it up.
No, I don't think he messed it up.
Okay.
I just think I can't taste the difference.
Yeah.
So maybe I should have waited another day. 3 days though. Who's waiting 3 days to eat cake, cupcake?
I mean, you ate that cake more than 3 days after.
That's just because I feel bad about myself if I eat the whole cake in a day, but I would. All right. Let's take a look at the scorecard here. The all-purpose flour definitely makes a difference. The batter is thicker, it's clumpier, it's darker. You can see in the middle row, the second one in, that's one of the all-purpose flour cupcakes. It didn't make a bad cupcake. It was totally serviceable. So if you were in some sort of cake baking emergency, you look in the cupboard, you don't have any cake flour, but you have all-purpose flour, yeah, go ahead and make it. That said, your grocery store should have cake flour. It's not particularly expensive, and it's worth it, I think, to just go out and grab that ingredient if you need it to make the Stella Parks yellow cake. Next up was the potato flour. This one I really wanted to believe in, but I don't know. The one without potato flour tasted sweeter to me. It felt like a fluffier cake. That said, I tested this on some other people and they found the opposite result. And some couldn't taste the difference at all. It's not making a huge difference to your average taster. One of the things that could have happened is the browning on the cupcakes was a little bit different. And so maybe the sweetness thing was really just coming from the degree of the Maillard reaction, the browning reaction, and not really from the formulation of the cupcake. Again, with the staleness of the cupcakes, I couldn't tell any sort of difference. Now that I have a bag of potato flour, I'm going to throw it in every time I make this cake because why not? But I don't think you need to rush out and find somewhere to buy this and spend, an extra $7 to buy the bag of potato flour if you're making this cake for the first time. Lastly, we had whole eggs instead of egg yolks. And this one made a huge difference. It's such a big difference that if you were making this recipe and you didn't realize you were only supposed to use yolks and you put in the whole egg, I would strongly advise you just to scrap it. Throw everything out and start over. Whatever costs you incur in terms of your time and the ingredients is worth it because that one was gross. Thanks for joining me, and I hope you'll be back again to check out another Does It Matter?